We couldn't get away from this one. What explains the abysmal standard of umpiring by Indian officials in particular in this tournament? And there have been, unfortunately, Shish, some absolute howlers, typified by last night's game where there were three, well, terrible decisions made. But what is it now, just from the outside, that you are noticing with regard to Indian umpiring?
It's just like how we play abroad on bouncy pitches, isn't it? I mean, you realize that domestic players go through so much of turmoil because of the quality of umpiring. I don't know whether it is I know it all attitude which some umpires have. A lot of umpires, coaches and umpires in India. I hate to say this, but once they get to that position where they're sitting in a position of power, they seem to know it all. And this is an ability not to go ahead and learn or be a student of the game. What we've seen these are not technical hitches or lack of competence. It comes from a certain amount of arrogance, and I believe that they have to restructure the system in appointing umpires even at the first class level, because that's where they graduate from. And you'll see that a lot of careers have been truncated because of the quality of umpiring, and that's something they seriously need to look at.
And this has been a perennial problem since the time you've been playing. But George, what happens, and let's not pan the umpires here too much, because at the end of the day, this is a high profile, high pressure job where you don't get the technology that we have access to. Some of the howlers, though, were quite incredible. Hazare now, Sanjay Hazare, out of the tournament because of that decision not to go up to the third umpire, etc. What are you picking up from in terms of whether the BCCI has got its training structures right, whether it's got things of that nature sorted out? Because it does appear to show up at a high level a high profile tournament such as this.
Well, how one goes about becoming an umpire is you write a exam which is at a state level, and then you umpire matches within the state, and once you're endorsed by that association, you can write a BCCI level exam, and you have access to the BCCI's the academy in Nagpur before that, and after you clear that exam, then in the BCCI's ambit of matches. There are academies at state level, and the BCCI runs a training program in I think Nagpur. So in terms of facilities, it's difficult to pinpoint a cause for this problem, but what I would ask is, are the Indian umpires equipped to stand in such a tournament? Because there are matches every other day, they're traveling. Are they, how do they maintain their levels of concentration, focus, fitness? Is there someone monitoring all of this? There is an umpires manager at Ranji matches where there are video cameras and feedback is given and all of that, but what about a level below that? The development should happen there, I think, and it is a big concern that India aren't turning out international.
I'll come to you guys once again. I know Shish, you have a point to make, but it's not been like India's umpiring resources have always been poor. I mean, S. Venkatraghavan, just a reminder of what he did at international level. He was, of course, a great international off spinner of repute. He had over a decade-long international career, 73 test matches, 52 one-day games. But once Mr. Venkatraghavan retired, and he does have a coaching capacity of some kind in the umpiring circuit in the ICC, Indian umpiring has taken a bit of a nosedive internationally. These are the kind of figures that we've seen. No Indian umpire is in the elite panel of umpires. You see that at the bottom of your screen. Only 5 have officiated test matches since Venkat's retirement. Not even one of those has done more than 4 test matches. Not one more than 51 days. Russell, India produces fast bowlers now, but doesn't produce umpires.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You also have to feel for the umpires the amount of pressure that they go through. The crowds around them so noisy, especially in India. Hearing a nick, all that is totally out of the question. Also, with the technology, the amount of scrutiny they come under is far greater than probably what Venkat would have come under in the past. Technology is in such a situation where it exposes so many mistakes which we wouldn't have seen a few years ago. So that also adds to the pressure. But on the other hand, when you look at the other umpires going around, let's say from Sri Lanka or even from England, it's past players who have handled such pressures before, the greater pressures that the game has brought on at this stage. Now, is any of these Indian umpires who have played at the highest level, Are they coming forward and taking up that job? Look at Kumar Dharmasena. Umpiring is different, but the pressures of the crowd, the moment, the situations, he's had some experience before. So is that helping the umpires who are coming from other countries?
Well, it's a good point, Russell. Just explore that further with you, and I'll get to Shishir on it. In fact, why hasn't he ever tried to be an umpire, Shish? He's tried to be everything else. You've tried to be coach and selector and things of that nature. You just don't want to be standing out in the sun and serving the game.
No, I have a problem with my little finger. But honestly, my issue is, and I wonder if it's a systemic problem. You know, like we have gratification of voters, you know, in sending them as managers, and, you know, appointments that happen because of the vote bank system. I hope that, you know, appointment of umpires or suggesting umpires, recommending umpires by associations is not another way of saying, okay, let's gratify these guys because we are a part of a certain group, and, you know, we are voting for a certain group. You know, that could be one of the biggest problems, because, you know, there was once upon a time a baggage man who turned into a national umpire. And I remember playing a first class game where, you know, he gave a batsman not out and apparently edged it, and, you know, the whole big boys of the Bombay team shouted and cursed him, and you know what he did? He stuck his tongue out. I mean, that was the level of confidence, and that's something you don't want, because when you're appointed because of a vote bank or gratifying people, you're obviously going to get people who are not confident enough to do the job. They needn't have been great cricketers, but, you know, just understanding the system that they are in, and that makes all the difference. And today I'm worried that, you know, you're not pushing the wrong boys to umpire a game.
George, just final thoughts on this. One other aspect of this is the IPL is a stage for every aspect of Indian cricket. It's a stage for Sanjay Bangar to show the world that India can produce coaches. It's a stage for some of the quicks to show the world that this is not just a one-dimensional country when it comes to producing quick bowling. It's a stage for young batsmen, of course. It's also a stage for umpires. And if there are embarrassing moments to the extent that we've had in the last few days, that damages the reputation of the Indian kind of cricket community in a sense.
Yeah, well, certainly, like, you know, when these umpires, they have a howler, and the howler, it just takes like a moment's lapse in concentration to make a mistake, and then everyone pounces on it, like, you know, in this world of Twitter scrutiny and all of that. And the umpire's confidence could also take a beating, and it gradually snowballs maybe into the reputation deteriorates and all of that. So it's a really hard environment to be thrust into, and that's why I think, like, in terms of preparation, it's really important. It could just be like the small things. Are the umpires getting 8 hours of sleep before going out into a you know, big game? Because you have to stand, because you are standing out for 3.5 hours. You have to concentrate every ball.
Yes,
it's going to take a toll.
And I'm going to give the final thought to Russel Arnold before we actually start looking at the game. You mentioned the Dharmasena example. There are others, of course. Richard Illingworth is an elite level umpire now. Paul Rifle, who's played international cricket. But what makes a former player take the plunge? And what do you think it's going to take for an Indian former player to take the plunge? I mean, you know Kumar Dharmasena quite well. Was it just that he didn't have any other career choice, or did he really want to do this?
Well, you've taken the answer away from me, I guess. In India, there's so much more a past player can do. So I guess in a player's mind, standing out there in the sun for a full day, going through all the stress or that an umpire would go through in preparation, following each and every ball, etc. It takes a lot. So I guess it's tough. It's a tough decision for any player to make if you have another option, I would guess.
All right, well, that was our talking point. Kumar Dharmasena there, you just saw a glimpse of him, as well as Ajit Agarkar, our in-house man here. Thank you very much for thoughts to the guys. It's something to keep an eye out for, Indian umpiring, as the tournament progresses, and hopefully we'll see one in the elite panel soon.